Welcome to Let's Talk Books Unscripted.
Cheers. Oh, I should try this. I haven't tried it yet. Mm-hmm.
This is a series we're doing. Wife and husband.
Oh, there you go. Switching things up.
Who like to read, talking about books, all things books. This is unedited, unscripted. So what you see, what you hear, that's what you get. Mm-hmm. What are we drinking tonight?
I'm having an Olipop. I don't know if there are any Olipop drinkers out there or Poppy fans. I honestly can't decide which I like more, but that's a really fun can. Come on. Barbie. Or if you're a Barbie fan, this one's really fun just for the can alone, and it's very tasty. This is peaches and cream, so I like all the different flavors that they come out with. I like to think I'm being a little, healthier. It is a soda, but it's a, what do they call it? It's like a prebiotic soda or something. I'm not sure, but has very minimal sugar, not a lot of calories, but it's at least tastier than plain water. So
that's true.
That is what I am drinking. What do you have?
I'm having Waterloo sparkling water, raspberry nectarine. I'm big into sparkling water, like LaCroix or bubbly. I know it's not for everyone, but I'm a big fan.
That one has a little more
I like the
than,
bubbles.
Yeah.
I'll even drink the unflavored ones, like Perrier or...
Not me, but
Pellegrini.
he likes it.
So
when he wants to be a little fancy and not just drink normal.
It was
water.
82 degrees today in Wisconsin, where we're from, and really humid. So this tastes real good.
Yep. I know it was kind of like, well, it was a pretty big increase in temperature because I feel, it was in like the 70s yesterday.
Yeah, it was just hot today. It was.
Let us know where you live and what the temperature is like by you.
Yeah, and what you're drinking as well.
Yeah, if you prefer spring weather or summer or maybe neither.
So we're gonna talk. We each only have one book each to talk about today.
Shocking.
I know last time we had like
I think my stack was almost
80 or 100. It seemed
falling
like
off my lap.
So I finished a book last night. I'm gonna talk about that. Really excited. I won't say which one yet. And Katie has a book that she is really enjoying, and she's going to
go first.
She might try to finish it tonight. We'll see.
So before I opened this, I had an energy drink, which was probably a bad idea, but I was definitely feeling tired this afternoon, and I kind of had committed in my head that I wanted to finish this book tonight. So we'll see if it happens. I mean, the energy drink might just allow me to be able to do it. I'll regret it in the morning, probably. But we'll talk about that on the next one. But yeah, this is very, very good. It's called The Last Love Note. I can't remember if I had it as part of my stack last time. I don't remember. But I did include it in my summer TBR post, and I made a reel as well on Instagram, just kind of showing what I'm hoping to read through the summer. I'm very proud of myself that I already started one that I said I was going to read. Granted, this has been on my list for a really long time, so I'm just sad I didn't start it sooner. Just a quick overview of it. It is a very it's sad and tender, but I do feel that it's going to go in a happy direction. But it does start out pretty sad because it's about a woman who loses her husband. He dies, but it's basically like a second chance romance, I think is what you would call this one, because then she gets a second chance at love. So I'll be interested to see who she could, love again. But yeah, I'm like obsessed with the cover too. It just looks very summery.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is my first book by Emma Gray is who it is, from Zibby Publishing, and I have another one from them as well that I'm planning to read this summer. So I'm sure I'll talk about that one eventually too. But yeah.
Cool. So last night I stayed up and I finished this book, You Shouldn't Have Come Here by Geneva Rose. It was a book that I was hoping to finish real soon, and I just powered through and finished it up.
He wanted to be able to talk about it tonight, and just for the record, I have to tease you a little bit, but his staying up to finish a book is 10:30.
That was up.
My staying up will be much different for this book, as in midnight, 1, sometimes 1:30.
I was rallying.
But I was proud of you because that's pretty late for you.
Yeah. So this book, guys, was awesome. It was so gripping. I think from start to finish, this book was eerie and just very gripping.
Creepy vibes, for sure.
I wouldn't really call it a suspenseful thriller.
Yeah,
more
but
psychological.
But it's not boring by
No,
any
it's
means.
not.
It still like moves along.
It's just
fast
very.
enough.
It's just very eerie. What I say, earring?
Eerie.
And the ending definitely got me. I had my theories throughout the whole book, and I started getting more theories at the end, the last 3/4 of the book, and I was way off. I had no idea.
Yeah,
what was going to happen, and Geneva Rose is just so good at twists.
We've said this before, and it says it on the front of her book. I'm pretty sure it says it on all of her books,
Yeah.
that she's the queen of twists, and it's very true. I mean, I've seen people give, there are bad reviews for literally every book out there, but I feel very, what's the word I'm looking for? I just love her so much that, defensive, there we go. I get defensive of her, and when I see a bad review on a book of hers, and again, I know that not every author, not every book is for everyone, but I'm just like, what? We obviously read very different books then, or we perceived it differently, because there's people who are not shocked by her endings, or just have really negative things to say. He was reading me some of the reviews that he saw on it last night. We both looked at each other I'm confused. I read a very different book.
But very well written. This was told from dual perspectives between the two main characters, Claire and Calvin. It kind of goes back and forth between their perspectives, and their perspectives are very different, and it kind of alternates what he sees and what she sees in each kind of scenario, and it keeps your attention very, very well. If you haven't read a book by her, I think this one would be a great one to start with. Or maybe her new book just came out, Homes Where the Bodies Are.
Which we've talked about as well.
About. They're great reads if you're into thrillers, or if you're not into thrillers. And they're short. I mean, both the books are about 300 pages.
Yeah.
So
I don't think that's the case for all of her books, but for sure those two. And yeah, we're going to definitely we'll probably do it as one video, but do reviews on both of those
we'll do
books,
kind of a
because
formal,
we both read them. So.
A formal, informal review of both the books, our thoughts, and just really hype her up.
Yeah.
Definitely check out one of her books if you haven't, because I think you're gonna like it.
Yeah. She even wrote a cute rom-com too. I can't remember if I said that on a different video, so sorry if I did, but yeah, I just think that shows even more talent in an author when they can write in multiple genres. And then I think even one of her other ones is considered women's fiction, or contemporary fiction, something like that. So yeah, she's very, very talented. Yeah,
so I definitely give it 5 stars. That's it for books. Yeah. We're going to talk briefly about just some of our reading habits, and how we choose what we read, which one of us reads more. Definitely her. People ask.
Shocker.
People ask us. I think it's obvious.
I do have people ask how I read so much, and I do like to tell people, because I also don't want people to think I just ignore my children all day. I don't do that. I don't recommend that. However, I feel like my kids are at an age now where sometimes they do allow me to get some reading time in during the day, and I'll just do it in little chunks. It's not my favorite way to read, because in a perfect world I would, have uninterrupted time, which is what I do get in the evenings, or after the kids go to bed. So that's another time that I read. So yeah, that's when I get the majority of my reading in, but I will sneak it in throughout the day as I'm able. Our youngest does a quiet time. So when she's doing that, I'll reward myself with reading it, if I complete a task or two around the house first. That's typically what I do. During the school year, I read in the carpool line when I pick up my son, so that's a good time to get some more reading in. I do that instead of scrolling. So if you are looking for ways to get your reading in more, those are some tips that I have. I also listen to audiobooks, so I do that when I'm doing chores or running errands or what have you. So that's another way to just get some more reading in general. Yeah.
Yes, like she said, I don't stay up super late, so that's why I don't read as much, but I try to read every night before bed.
I'm so proud of him.
Last night I started right when the kids went to bed, so I read from 8 to probably about 10.
It was closer to 10
when I finished it up. So it depends how tired I am and how into the book I am too.
Yeah.
Sometimes there are books that are harder to read, especially when you're more tired. Like last night, I was just so like.
Well, we don't do that every night where we like start reading right when the kids
No,
go to bed.
generally not,
We do
yeah.
it some nights, but like a lot of nights we'll watch something on TV first, and then like we'll go up and read. Or if he's watching something I don't care about, that's when I will use all of that time to read. So it's like I'll just be near him and read, and then continue reading once we get to bed. So again, yeah, that's how I fit more reading in than you do. But
yeah, so just definitely, we kind of read when we have time.
Yep. And being consistent
Definitely
about it
at
and
night,
like
and
prioritizing
even if you
it.
read a chapter a night,
Yep.
you know, that's better than none. You know,
for sure.
so
Yep.
and it, you know, it also keeps you in tune with your book. You know, you don't want to take long breaks. And
Yeah.
I know Katie reads a lot of books at a time.
Yeah.
I try to limit myself to 3, maybe 4. One
That's
thriller.
still a decent amount of books.
That's true. 1 thriller, 1 rom-com, and then 1 nonfiction.
Yeah.
Is kind of my goal of what I like to be reading at a time. I don't always flip through them like every 3 days. It's kind of like which one I'm into the most
Yeah.
is what I will gravitate towards. So now that I finish this one, I'm going to start reading a different thriller.
I heard somebody on Instagram who I just recently started following, and he like reads for his job. So I'm like, I would like to sign up for that. I think what he does, and I'd like to like look into it more, is he gets his hands on like a ton of arcs. So like books that have yet to be published, and he'll read them ahead of pub date, which I've been able to, you know, start doing that a little bit, but like he gets paid for it. And like, yeah, his following is really, really cool. Again, I haven't been following him very long, but he was giving tips on like, yeah, how do you get, because he gets asked that all the time too, and he did say, I do get paid for this, and he was like, but you know, this is how I find the time, this is how much time I dedicate to reading. And he said he does read multiple books at a time too, but he literally will like, he'll spend 30 minutes with one book, and then he'll switch and like read 30 minutes for like the other book. So he is like switching around, but that's how he can keep going with like with each book.
Yeah.
I don't know.
When there's something you're passionate about, like for me, I like gardening, and we both like reading. When there's something you're passionate about, you're gonna find time to do it. You know, and even if that is small little pockets of time, you're gonna find time to do it whenever you can. Like I'll go out to the garden 10 minutes after work and water stuff, and that's important to me, you know, so I'm gonna dedicate time to do that. So if you're dedicated to reading, instead of watching TV or instead of scrolling or instead of
whatever,
just staring at the wall, you're going to read during that time. And if you read different, you know, small chunks of time each day, you're going to actually get through a book faster than you would imagine.
Yeah. Yep. For sure. And then I think the last thing we're going to touch on is like what genres we're typically drawn to.
Yeah.
For the longest time, I've been obsessed with thrillers. Like, I don't know how long that's been a thing for me, but I do feel like that's what I was drawn to. Like 9 times out of 10. Or not, well, that didn't make any sense. Nine times out of 10, I am like, you know, I'm gonna pick up a thriller. That's kind of how I was up until more recently. And I will credit Aardvark Book Club for kind of helping me to branch out more and like get out of my comfort zone. Because now I find myself being drawn to books that I probably wouldn't have picked up a couple of years ago, honestly. Where I wouldn't have just been like, oh, that looks like a good book, I'll read it. I would have been more like skeptical and just been like, that's not my genre, and just like pass over it and not read it. So I'm really, really glad that I've like, and I don't even want to say that I forced myself to read books, but just that I've let myself do that, you know, and branch out. So I do still love me a good thriller, but when I tell people that I will almost read anything, that's kind of about where I'm at right now. Like, I would say I probably still prefer the romance or rom-com genre and thrillers, but like I've read some really, really good just like contemporary fiction books. One of my favorite books this year so far was a contemporary fiction book, We Are the Brennans, that one. So there's a good book rec for you. It's like family drama, but like, because sometimes I'm like, oh, I feel like that might be boring, or like, you know, it won't like have a fast enough pace and keep me going, which I think is why I'm drawn to thrillers, because typically they're fast paced, they keep your attention. There's normal, if it's a good thriller, it has an incredible twist at the end, you know, as we were talking about with Geneva Rose. So that's why I think I do gravitate towards them for that reason. But no, like We Are the Brennans, it was just, it still moved right along. It had a fast enough pace for me. Like the characters, I think that's when like the author has to do an incredible job of character development so that you're not bored, and like the plot obviously has to be interesting enough. But I felt like, yeah, like domestic drama is intriguing to me as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. If you're not sure about a genre, just give it a try.
Yeah.
I mean, the book that
you won't know until like you read it. You know?
The book that got me back into reading was a book called Shark Heart.
Of all books.
That was a kind of slow-paced love story.
Yeah.
That really focused on just relationships.
Yeah.
Something that I never thought.
It was so unique. I don't know.
Something I never thought I would have read. And that was the book that really jump-started my reading again. And it was just so well written.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not so much the genre, it's the author and just how it's written.
Abilities, yeah.
That is going to make you enjoy it. I mean, I've been reading a lot of thrillers, and you guys know I love the rom-com. Those are kind of my main two genres. But I'll I'll give anything a try. And if you don't like it, then maybe that's not your genre.
Yeah.
But you got to explore different genres and authors and writing styles.
Yeah.
There's so many books out there.
Oh yeah.
And like we said with the reviews, books that we love, other people won't love. So it's just so varied on each different person if you're gonna like it or not.
Yeah. I mean, but then of course, yeah, if like Corey's saying, if you try something out and maybe it's like 2 books you've tried in that particular genre and you're just like, I'm not liking it, then yeah, move on, because like life is too short to like be reading something you're not totally enjoying. And so then sometimes it's okay to say like, this is my genre, or these are my 2 genres, this is what I like, this is what makes me passionate and excited about reading, then read that, It's like, because I think sometimes when you are trying to branch out more, or you're forcing yourself to, then it's like reading can become a chore, and you can also really hit a book reading slump when you do that, because if you have so many books that you've read that you just didn't love, then you're like, oh, I feel stuck and like I don't know what to read next. So that's something else I can speak to as well, is that like, then if you've come across that, then my suggestion is to either reread something, and I'm not a big rereader because I just feel like there's so many books out there that it's like hard for me to want to go back to something. But if there's something you absolutely adored, read it again, like just to get yourself back into the love of reading, or go back to your go-to genre,
Yeah.
instead of being like, oh, I want to try these, well, maybe stop trying that. Yeah, go back to what you know and love. So
but yeah, we were trying to keep this video under 15 minutes. We're at 18 and a half, so
whoops,
not too bad.
But at least it's shorter than our last one.
But yeah,
our last one was
like we talked about last episode, we're gonna start doing more videos and touching on certain topics, and obviously keep you up to date on what we're reading and what we finished and how that's going, or any new books we pick up.
Of course.
Which is
it's
ever.
There's some on my radar for this summer that I still have yet to acquire, so.
And we'll always take book recs. We always want to know what you're reading as well, and what you're drinking, and where you're from. Remember we said,
that too.
If you made it this far, please comment. Let us know you made it this far. We are at 830 subscribers on YouTube. So we gained 15 actually just from Friday. Yeah. So that's good.
That's pretty good.
We're on our way to 1,000.
Yeah.
And we're trying to, bump up those watch hours. So if you watch this video, we love you.
Yeah. We love you even if you only watched a little bit, but
yeah.
But watch the whole video maybe.
If you made it this far, we
just have it on in the background. You don't even have to
super
pay
love
attention.
you. Yeah. This is more of a podcast. You need to watch our silly faces.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Yep. See you next time.
We'll see you
Friday.
on Friday.